In the year of 1983, there was a crash. After dominating the 1970s, the video game industry suffered a massive drop in interest in sales due to an oversaturation of the market and companies from all around the world overestimating the demand of a blooming new entertainment medium. The modern video games that you and I enjoy today might not have existed because of this huge dip. However, one company would rise from the ashes and help bring the games industry back into what it is today. When Nintendo released Super Mario Bros. In 1985, it was actually seen as a pretty big risk. The video game industry was seen as tainted ground by many, and Nintendo had to be really careful with the NES's marketing. For example, they were keen on selling the console as a toy or an entertainment system and not a family computer, as so many other consoles were doing that at the time, and there might have been a negative connotation associated with the term. Whatever they did, the NES sold like hotcakes. Millions of consoles were being sold every year, and the console was bundled with what would become a world-renowned mascot. Mario and his brother Luigi very quickly became household names in the gaming world and are still titans of the industry to this very day. Something that's got to be stated is, Nintendo really ruled over pop culture and the gaming industry at the time, with very little competition until Sonic and the Sega Genesis. The Super Mario Bros. Would have various video game sequels, toys, a TV show, a whole movie to hype up Super Mario Bros. 3, and even a porno parody. It was pretty evident that the child-friendly Italian plumbers had cemented their place into fiction history, and Nintendo thought it'd be a great idea to make a full feature-length film based on the Super Mario Bros. Universe. So why don't we take a look at how that went? The plot of the Super Mario Bros. Movie is really quite simple. The film explains that the meteorite that killed the dinosaurs also split the universe into two different dimensions. The dinosaurs that survived the impact went into that dimension to continue thriving and evolving, while our dimension remained the same. Cut to present time, where a woman leaves a mysterious egg and a rock at an orphanage. As she's leaving, she's confronted by King Koopa. And killed by rocks. Then the egg hatches, which has a baby girl. 20 years go by and we're finally introduced to Mario, played by Bob Hoskins, and Luigi, played by John Leguizamo. They are failing plumbers about to be run out of business by the mafia when Luigi meets a woman named Daisy and goes out on a date with her. On that date, she finds that her water pipes have been sabotaged and asks Mario and Luigi to fix them, which they successfully pull off. But once they do, Mario, Luigi, and Daisy are knocked out by King Koopa's henchmen and brought to the alternate dimension that drops them off at Dino Hatton. It turns out that the infant in the beginning of the film is actually Daisy, and she's the lost princess of the parallel dimension, and she has a special rock that King Koopa wants because this rock supposedly has the power to merge the two dimensions into one. He wants to be the supreme leader of both worlds, as the world that the dinosaurs chose is all busted and ugly now. He overthrew Daisy's father to rise in power, and he kidnaps Daisy. Eventually, as in an hour and a half into an hour and 45-minute long movie, the two worlds merge and Mario and Luigi must stop Koopa before it's too late. In the final 15 minutes of the movie, Mario and Luigi fight a super evolved Koopa and defeat him. Daisy and Luigi share a final kiss before she goes back to her dimension to try and repair Koopa's damage, and Mario and Luigi return to New York with their newfound fame. The movie closes with a sequel bait that has aged like milk and
Luigi, Mario!
Daisy!
You gotta come with me, I need your help.
What's wrong?
You're never gonna believe this.
I believe it.
You do?
I believe.
the credits finally roll. Did you get all that? I sure hope so. Now, does this sound anything like Super Mario Bros? Well, actually, yeah. Italian plumbers traverse the land and make new friends in an effort to save the princess from an evil King Koopa. It's all there. But in the games, that's all there was. There wasn't all this talk of different dimensions, magical crystals, and famished planets. All of this was added in the movie, and that's what created this massive disconnect from the original source material to the film. So what went wrong? Well, the production of this movie was deeply troubled from the very start. First off, Nintendo stated that they wanted absolutely no part in the creative aspects of the film. They felt that the Mario name and license was in great hands because the writers of the film wanted to try and capture the tone of Ghostbusters, as it was a massive success both critically and financially and was praised all around the board for balancing an extremely comedic tone with supernatural and dark undertones, which is exactly the kind of vibe they wanted with the Super Mario Bros. Movie. However, things got a little sloppy when Disney bought the film's distribution rights. They demanded a script rewrite, and from there the story would be rewritten several times before the directors in the studio could settle on something. Even after a story was finally decided, the script would just be rewritten again. No, seriously, the script for the film was rewritten so many times that not even the actors or directors knew what they were making at a certain point. Shooting the film was extremely taxing and expensive because of the constant rewrites. No one knew if they were making a family-friendly comedy or a dark, gritty noir film. The two directors on set were a married couple that apparently had difficulties communicating with everyone else on set. They would just come up with ideas and not communicate it to anybody else and expected it to be put in the film. They wanted to film scenes with adult content and strippers as they were just edited out anyways because it was extremely inappropriate for children. This level of disconnect between the directors, producers, and everyone else on set was so ludicrous that Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo just straight up got super drunk on set before filming, and they would continue to drink throughout each take. Dennis Hopper, who played King Koopa, said that it was one of the worst productions he'd ever been a part of. What was supposed to be a 5-week shoot turned into a 17-week ordeal for him. On top of that, the movie was slammed critically and it was a pretty big box office bomb. Talk about troubled. While the film was originally praised for its originality and its animatronics, it just wasn't really close at all to the original game, so the kids that went to go see it were alienated, and parents that went to go see it were just as confused because the humor is this strange mix of adult humor with slapstick. Whenever I heard a joke in the film, my first thought was always, who is this for? There's this weird mix of slapstick and over-energetic comedy, while also having jokes that would probably go over most kids' heads. The editing in this movie is so frantic, it just does not stop. Like, almost every scene has some sort of weirdness or noise going on. Characters can never just walk somewhere. They have to drive at high speeds while screaming with the music blasting. I want you to watch this scene here, and I want you to just try to wrap your head around what's going on.
Mario. Last name?
Mario.
Okay, what's your name?
Luigi.
Luigi?
No, Luigi Mario.
Okay, look, how many Marios are there between the two of you?
There's three. It's Mario, and Luigi Mario.
Mike! Up these Marios around the side.
First, you have this woman massaging this guy with her feet. Secondly, you have the stunning revelation that Luigi and Mario's last name is Mario.
Mario.
Third, there's this cop trying to stop a fight or a riot or something that involves him breaking a bottle, but then he gets thrown by another cop and taken away. What is going on? This is giving me a headache. Of course, the humor isn't the only thing that feels off about this movie. The connection to Super Mario Bros. Really only lies in the names, which is ironic because Shigeru Miyamoto's criticism of the film was that it was trying too hard to replicate the spirit of the original game and not focusing on being a good movie. Okay. Everything just feels so off and disconnected with this movie. I really don't know why they didn't just go fully animated with a property like Super Mario Bros. It's pretty apparent that when things like Goombas, Yoshi, Iggy, and Spike are interpreted into live action, it can have some pretty disgusting results. Obviously, this movie did not have the proper funding that it needed. It's well known that this movie went massively over budget, but I mean, come on. What could they have realistically done with only $48 million? But seriously, this seems to be an issue that surrounds most video game adaptations. They either have budgets that are way too small or directors and writers that have no vision and they mostly just listen to the studio, which is why you get these video game movies that are almost nothing like their original source material. Obviously there are some exceptions, but most of the time when you get a video game adaptation, it's nothing like the source material. Video game films like Mortal Kombat and Mario Bros are so awful but so charming and likable, they both can make for a pretty amazing time. Well, only if you're drunkenly berating it with your friends, but still, it's a fun time nonetheless. For the Mario Bros. Movie, I would actually say that this is a perfectly cast movie. John Leguizamo and the late great Bob Hoskins actually do a pretty good job given the circumstances. Dennis Hopper just hams it up 1000% as King Koopa, and he, Iggy, and Spike are easily the best parts of this movie.
If we get it wrong one more time, he's gonna kill us.
He's not gonna kill us. He's not that nice.
Oh, we didn't mean to disturb you, but the Palmers, they're in the tunnel. They're on their way to the desert.
What are you doing here instead of being in the desert, heading them off?
That's exactly what I told him, sir. Exactly what I told him. Between you and me, Spike hasn't got a thought in his brain, sir.
He's a liar, sir. Between us, Iggy doesn't have a brain in his head.
I agree.
Monkey.
The set of Dino Hatton is legitimately really cool looking, and the people who made it did a really great job with it. Same goes for the creature design and the animatronics. Honestly though, despite Super Mario Bros. Being a huge critical failure and a box office flop, it does kind of have this cult following of people who really appreciate it for what it is, and I suppose that's the best praise a movie like this can really ask for.